first video for me, but basically what I thought I'd do is I'd give you a bit of a talk through NeoFly 4, because I'm going to start doing some Microsoft Flight Simulator videos, because there's not many to do with NeoFly 4 at the moment, and the immersion it creates during Microsoft Flight Simulator I think is pretty outstanding, to be honest. I think, to be honest, realistically, I wouldn't be playing Microsoft Flight Simulator for as long as I have been if it wasn't for NeoFly 4. And also I've just started with the integration of VATSIM, which is the ATC Online ATC, which is a really good tool as well. And my future videos will probably incorporate some VATSIM and NeoFly 4, because all of them together really gives you a good immersion of the flight. I'm in a Cessna 414 today, as you can see. Visibility is 6.62 kilometers. What I'm going to basically do is I'll talk you briefly through NeoFly 4, and then I'll give you a route of what we're going to do. But when you start up NeoFly 4, you now have your two different areas that you can do. You can do your career or your company. I'm doing a company at the moment because it's in early access. You get it for free, and what this basically does for NeoFly is it allows you to command other pilots as well as your own, so you can basically make a little bit more money and make it a bit more like you running a company. But this is the initial screen. So basically what happens is you generally have an aircraft. I've worked my way up to the Cessna 414. Wherever you are, so I'm actually at Guernsey at the moment because I've forgotten, so I'm gonna have to change location to Guernsey, which I'll do briefly in a minute. But what it basically allows you to do is have a load of different areas that you have. So for example, you set your maximum distance, and these are all the missions in your current area that are located to you at the moment. When you click on one of these pluses, for example, if I clicked on to Alderney, these are all the types of missions that you have. The other missions that you have is also the marketplace, which is where I generally do a lot of my basically my flights, really, to be honest, because the marketplace is where it's made. You get a lot of stuff like old wine here, phones, computers, which are all really expensive, and then you can sell them to different areas. Unfortunately, Guernsey, it looks like, isn't actually selling much at the moment. But if I was to do a short hop to Jersey, you can see that Jersey is actually buying clothes, and therefore what I can do is I can transfer a load of clothes over to Jersey and make $9 profit per flight. So that's basically what we're going to do today. I'm just going to reload my flight sim because obviously I've decided to go ahead and load up in Jersey, because I forgot I did a flight earlier which landed me in Jersey. So that's the one thing with NeoFly. You obviously, wherever you fly to is where you have to take off from. So you could effectively fly around the world, but you can't just load into an airport and then transport something. So it's currently live and it's current all the time. And the good thing is, obviously, you get the immersion like I've just had there, which is the talking.
You can start your engine now.
This is just NeoFly and Jersey loading up. Now, with NeoFly loading up, what this basically means is, in the top right here, I've got this green. Basically, it looks like a Wi-Fi signal, really. And what that means is I'm currently at the correct airport that my aircraft or my characters are located at. I'm in the right aircraft, and I'll talk a little bit about weights later on. Obviously, depending on what your aircraft, you can go along and buy a load more aircraft if you want. I currently have the Cessna 414, which I've managed to buy, but each airport is different. You can obviously, for example, here you can work up to 18 million and buy a Cessna Longitude. And which is what I'm slowly doing. So as for NeoFly today, what I'm probably going to do is the best thing that you can do to get the most immersion is to do a mission, because if you just do the marketplace, you don't get a lot of the audio that NeoFly has integrated into it, because the marketplace is more of an ad hoc that you should do with the missions. Although generally it's the greater way that you can make money. So what I'm going to do is have a look in Jersey for now, Excuse me. I'll just click over to Guernsey. And then I will have a look at what Jersey have to offer. And Jersey currently has all of these to offer. So what I'm going to do is I'll probably have a look at something quite small. I generally look at something that's got the lowest poundage. This is your maximum payload that I've got up here. These are all quite high. But it looks like this VIP one is probably the best. So that's going to take £352. I haven't got that many clothes here. So what I'll do is I'll load a load of clothes up. So I just click on the clothes. I've only got 265. And the one thing that I always check is to make sure that Jersey, EGJJ or Echo Golf Juliet Juliet, what he wants to buy so that you don't end up transporting too much over. So 265 clothes there. I can buy them all and they will then go onto the aircraft, and then notice that your poundage goes down soon. Right, so what we'll do is we'll jump into the aircraft, we'll have a quick look around, make sure we're okay, which we are. I'm just going to get rid of the yokes, and then what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to run the GPU just to get the GPU doing. And then what I generally like to do for a bit of immersion is I'll start taking all the covers off, but I'll open the doors ready for the passengers. We'll have a quick look around now. So that's the doors and the GPU all on, ready to go. Okay, so what I'm just going to do now is I'll go back to my mission, which is up in the top left. I'll click on here and then I'll click on my VIP one, and I'll click the go or load by here. And that's the job added. And now you get the nice immersion, which I'll let you listen to.
They have asked to board away from the paparazzi cameras. We need to get them on board as soon as possible. Transporter from dispatch. Boarding passenger. Please stand by.
So it's a nice bit of immersion there. You can hear the passengers are loading on board and that. Now what I'll do now that I've got that, I'll go to my hangar, make sure I've got enough fuel, which I know I do. And the briefing here. Now like before, we're in Guernsey, so we're okay now. We're in the Cessna 414. Making sure that if you weren't too sure what model number you own, it's this one in the liveries here, which I've brought, which is just over on your hangar.
Boarding is complete. You can start your flight.
One quick note to note down here as well is your planes. Another thing with NeoFly that I really like is your planes need to be maintained. So obviously the lower they get, you're more likely to get problems. Later on, because this is early access, but in NeoFly 4 that was the predecessor to this, actually had failures during flight, and if your plane wasn't kept up to date, you'd get hydraulic failures, which was quite good, especially if you've got the live ATC and do VATSIM, because then you're talking to real ATC operators and declaring a mayday, which is really, really good for immersion. You also get passengers that feel like they get unwell, which also means you have to divert to airports and that, which adds to all the immersion. That's really good. Anyway, so I go up to the hangar, double click the briefing now, and all I am doing is up here, it's saying that they're ready for the engine start. I'm missing my payload at the moment, so I won't get XP, and I've added a new VIP job. My payload is up in the top right here, which basically means if you want your most amount of XP, you'll be able, if you add the correct payload to what the flight should be with the passengers and that on board, then you'll obviously get the full XP, which is what I'm going to do now. So on the Cessna 414, you have this nice pad. Normal flight sim, you can go up to the payload and fuel option up here, but flight sim where I do it quite slightly different here, where you can add passengers for immersion, which is quite nice. So I'll just add a couple of passengers here. I have a look. I need £107 now, so I'll add the rear cabin cargo as well, just for a bit of COG. I need 57 now, so I'll add that, and maybe the wing lockers. And that's £804 now. And now what you can see is just adds a bit of immersion in, so I've got passengers in the back. Whilst I'm on here, I'll just close up the cabin doors now. As you can hear, the GPU's still running. And I'll just double check with NeoFly now to make sure I've got all greens here. Now that I've got all greens, that basically means that I'm ready to start. Everything's all okay. If your engine's started, you would then have to stop the engines and put the parking brake on again for you to be able to adjust any of this, especially like fuel and that. Obviously you can't top up during flight, you have to land, whether it be actually in a field. I know it's not for great immersion, but you can sort of imagine if you wanted to go and pick up, you know, if you did run out of fuel, you'd land in a field and then somehow refuel the aircraft. So you have to be on the ground with the engines off, the park and brake on, and then you can adjust these here. Another big one is, obviously, if you crash in Microsoft Flight Simulator, it is replicated in NeoFly. The only benefit is that in NeoFly you can insure your aircraft. Obviously, it's a certain amount a week. The more expensive aircraft, the more it is. If you crash, you'll obviously get your aircraft back to a certain percentage, and then your insurance premium will obviously go up. I've had a couple of mishaps, unfortunately, trying to land in fields with emergencies, so my insurance is actually quite high at the moment. So yeah, what I'm going to do now is basically just have a quick chat. Basically what we're going to do, here's the chart for Jersey, Channel Islands Control Zone. We're up here in Guernsey. We're probably going to be taking off from Guernsey runway 27, so we'll climb to an altitude of 500 feet along the runway, head to the Hanoi Lighthouse, VRP. We'll then do a sharp left turn, and then come down and do a direct course down to the northwest corner of Jersey, which is the northwest corner VRP. I'll then probably ask, I'll contact the tower then, and they'll probably ask me to control the platen or enter down a left downwind normally, which may mean that I actually come round and land into Jersey on a left downwind, or I'll come along in Fremont TV mast on a right hand downwind and then come down and enter runway 26. So that's basically it. VATSIM, of course, has extended my knowledge massively on this. I now have to use these for VATSIMs, especially if I'm VFR flying, because it's live ATC. So anyway, enough of that. What I'm going to do is to get the engine started now. I'll start putting some stuff on. I'll get the avionics on. I'm going to put the panel, beacon. I'll open the cowl flaps. I'll get the strobe light on. Get the pitot heats on at the moment, just because we've got the GPU in, and then I'll select the fuel tanks. I'll get the mixture all the way up, RPM all the way up, and a little bit of throttle on both. Start the fuel pumps. Open this nice window and get the batteries on and select the magnetos. I'll get the first engine started on the left and then I'll take the GPU away. It's just because this bird sometimes consumes quite a bit of energy or electricity. So I'm just going to prime her now. You can hear the priming going 3. Hold on for a few seconds and then I'll kick her on. Clear prop. And there she is, kicking into life. We'll match the revs. And we'll close that window up. Right. What I'm going to do now, just to keep the people happy in the back, because I know this she gets hot pretty quick. Take the rudder lock off, and I'll take the GPU off, and I'll just have a good clear look around. So, same again. What I'm going to do, prime the right hand. And then get the right hand engine started.
You're good to go.
And there's the nice NeoFly lady saying that everything's okay. She wouldn't say that if I wasn't cleared. So I'm going to be flying across to Jersey at about 1,500 feet. So I'm just setting the autopilot now. And what I'm going to do is, because I'm going to be flying on runway 26, I'll put the heading bug over to the west, give us a westerly course so I can set the autopilot up, which is what I like to do on this aircraft. Click the autopilot button up here and then turn it off. Go over to the map, and then I'm just going to change my CDI to GPS so that I'll be following the GPS when I input the flight plan. I'm then also going to select heading, vertical speed mode. So all I have to do, as soon as I've taken off, I'll click the autopilot button and the autopilot can take over if I don't fancy steering for too long. That's just my messages there. It's just telling me that I haven't put a flight plan in, which I'll do now. So I get my flight plan. I'm going to put in Echo Golf Juliet Bravo, which is obviously Guernsey for my origin. And then destination Echo Golf Juliet Juliet for Jersey, and that's come up. and then they should both link, which therefore means it puts a nice GPS line now of where I need to go. I'm squawking 7,000, which is for VFR, so I'll ident that, and now I'm good to go. All I will do quickly now is just double check over, put my nav lights on, and I'll just double check over that everything's okay. I'm just going to put the aircon on just slightly more, because we're just for the passengers' well-being, just trying to keep the cabin climate okay. Have a quick look. Got 30 knots of wind, so it's going to be a bit bumpy today. And now I'll look at contacting tower. So I'm going to depart to the south.
Currency ground Cessna November for 14 X-ray X-ray, ready to taxi south departure.
Cessna November for 14 X-ray X-ray taxi to and hold short of runway 27 via taxiway Alpha. Contact tower on 120.455 when ready.
Taxi to and hold short runway 27 using taxiway Alpha Cessna for X-ray X-ray.
So there we go, been given clearance there. We're going to runway 27 like I said. And then we're just going to head up to holding point Alpha just over the way and get underway. I'll do some quick engine checks just whilst I'm there, and then we'll get going. So park and brake off. I can switch the fuel pumps off for now. Check left and right. Quick check behind. We're all good. I keep the taxi markers on for Microsoft Flight Simulator only because I fly into a lot of airports that I'm not familiar with, and they just help me with a bit of visualization. So park and brake on there, and I'm just going to increase the revs to 2,000. It's not particularly realistic, but I'm going to do both engines at once. So just checking the magneto drop while it covers. RPM drop over onto the right hand side there. 2 clicks are 2 drops, and then watch the RPM come back up. Rotate the RPM just for some smooth. Make sure that the aircraft's doing a full cycle. And then back to idle. And at this point I'm just going to select one stage of flaps and just having a quick check of the cylinder and oil temperatures, which are fine. I'm actually I'll keep them open for the climb. So 1,500 feet there, and I'm just going to call tower to say that I am ready for takeoff VFR.
Jersey Tower Cessna November for 14 X-ray X-ray, ready at runway 27 south departure.
Cessna November 414 X-ray X-ray altimeter 29.74 wind 240 at 17. South departure approved. Cleared for takeoff runway 27.
Cleared for takeoff runway 27 Cessna for X-ray X-ray.
So I'm just adjusting my trim down to here just to help me with the takeoff. We're looking about 90 knots, which we'll get pretty quickly on this, especially because we're not really that fully loaded. Get the fuel pumps back on just to make sure we have no failures on takeoff. And just having a look at the wind as 240 at 17 knots. Just going to follow the aircraft down to the piano keys and the threshold. Align us night up onto the centre. Double check everything over, and then we'll head out. And we're rolling. Welcome to how realistic Microsoft Flight Simulator is. Well, we're up before him anyway. So gears coming up now.
Good flight. Watch your bank angle.
Gears coming up, so that's a nice successful rotation there. Gears coming up and we're climbing through 400 feet. Just pulling the throttle back to the maximum markers, 35 manifold pressure, and I'm just going to pull the RPM back to 2500 revs. I'm now maxing off.
X-ray, X-ray, continue for south departure.
Just maxing off the mixture now, just so we get the turbo working, and I'm going to acknowledge that indication.
Jersey Tower, Cessna November for 14 X-ray X-ray, continue for south departure.
So now we're above the 500 feet marker. We can now start our slow turn to the left, and then head out just shy of the lighthouse VRP, which is just over here. Then I've just selected autopilot to take over now. Now that we're at the required altitude, I'm going to pull all the way back to 31.5 on the manifold and pull the RPM back to 2450 revs just for our cruise. The one thing that I wanted to show you on NeoFly, it is really specific to what you're doing in Microsoft Flight Simulator. So the one thing that I didn't do was turn on my taxi and landing lights, and what I'd like to show you hopefully now on NeoFly is the fact that landing lights are off during takeoff and landing, which basically what that means is you then get an XP deduction, which shows the immersion of what NeoFly really is like and why it really is good. You know, Microsoft Flight Simulator is constantly talking to it. The only downside is with it being an early access at the time, you get a lot of taxi speed going over 30 knots and taxi speed on runway takeoffs, because it hasn't quite integrated a lot of the runways yet, but that's something they're working on all the time. So this is us now. I've just passed the lighthouse VRP, and we're just going to head basically straight down now for the northwest corner of Jersey, which should be coming up on the horizon shortly. I load the GPS into this point, so click on nav mode. That basically means when we intersect this line, the GPS will take over and the aircraft will automatically go on that line, which is always good. Good thing with NeoFly now is it's tracking exactly where we are as well, and especially with NeoFly, if you don't know what the airport's like, it's quite good on NeoFly because you get the Google Earth aspect to have a look at where Jersey is. But we're going to come down here to the TV mast, or the northwest corner, then probably come along to the TV mast and enter for runway 26. We'll be leaving the control zone soon, which means we'll end up contacting Jersey approach and then asking to land. But at the moment, all our systems are all okay.
X-ray, leaving my airspace frequency change approved.
I'm going to close off the cowlings now. Manifold pressures and everything are okay, and there's our frequency change.
Cessna November for 14 X-ray X-ray frequency change. Guernsey approach Cessna November for 14 X-ray X-ray is type Cessna 5 miles south of Guernsey, 1,500 feet. Request flight following.
Cessna November 414 X-ray X-ray Guernsey approach. Squawk 0525.
And there we go. Because I've asked for a basic service of Guernsey approach, we'll be given a different squawk now.
Cessna 4 X-ray X-ray radar. Contact 6 miles southeast of Guernsey, 1,500 feet. Altimeter 29.74.
Roger Cessna for X-ray X-ray.
One good thing with this now is I absolutely love the immersion. Look at the graphics of what Microsoft Flight Simulator is like, even the waves. It really is absolutely stunning. Got Herm and Sark over to our east over there, and then you can probably just pick up Alderney on the horizon. And we're just heading over now to the northwest corner of Jersey. All the passengers seem happy, haven't moved much, and all I'm going to do now is just double check that I'm all okay. Getting a little bit cold now, so I'm just going to tone down on the cooler knob. and have a little look just to make sure that we're all okay. Fuel on board's fine, we've got loads of fuel.
Cessna 4 X-ray X-ray. Contact Jersey approach on 118.555.
So that's the aircraft, has now just picked up the GPS. And what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to slowly start slowing the aircraft now, because we are motoring along. We're doing 184 knots at the moment with 27 knots of side wind.
Jersey approach Cessna November for 14 X-ray X-ray 1,500 feet.
Just going to put it onto heading mode,
November for 14
just so we head straight over to that
Approach altimeter
northwest corner.
2.9.74 continue as planned.
What I'm going to do now is contact Jersey Tower and request a full stop landing.
Jersey Tower Cessna November for 14 X-ray X-ray is 11 miles northwest 1,500 feet with Oscar to land.
Cessna November 414 X-ray X-ray Jersey Tower. Altimeter 29.74, wind 240 at 12. Fly left downwind, runway 26.
Enter left traffic runway 26 Cessna for X-ray X-ray.
So it seems a little bit mad because it's asking us to fly a left downwind, which I'm not going to do. A left downwind basically means you keep your left wing on following the runway at all times. That's how you do a pattern. So you take off a runway 26 in Jersey and then fly a left-hand pattern, so you keep your left wing always to airport. But what that means for me is I'd have to fly past the runway 08 threshold and keep it in a left-hand downwind pattern and then come along the south coast, which I'm not going to do because obviously normally there's taking off aircraft. They'd normally direct me straight to the TV mast or the northwest corner and direct me in that way on a right-hand pattern, to be honest, which is what I'm going to do. Unfortunately, this is Microsoft Flight Simulator Tower, which isn't always correct. What I am going to do now, though, is just slowly start slowing her down because we're absolutely motoring. You can see Jersey Airport in the distance just here. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to start taking the controls over now. Start slowing her down. Just so we're routing for the TV mast, which is just routing for the Fremont TV mast at the moment. All I can say is the immersion is brilliant. I've got passengers in the back. NeoFly really does add to the immersion. You'll see at this current moment in time when we land the actual aircraft itself, we'll get all the unloading of the passengers again, and then you'll see the money that you've made as well. Whereas if you were just doing this normal flight, I could do this 100 different times, but it just adds a little bit of reward to what you do, and obviously the further you fly. The good thing with NeoFly as well is the fact that you don't actually have to do a mission. You can take off and just do circuits on VATSIM, for example, and you will build up experience of the miles that you fly, which therefore means you get to unlock different missions and that further on.
Cessna 4 X-ray X-ray, wind 240 at 12. Cleared to land runway 26.
So that's us cleared to land now.
Runway 26 Cessna.
I'm currently right-hand downwind. I'll turn onto base in a minute and then onto final. I'm just going to start bleeding the speed up. What I'll do now, though, I'll get the gear down. So gears down and a first stage of flaps. Get the mixture to fully rich and add that RPM all the way up. And I'll just do a slow turn onto base now. Fuel pump on and the landing light on as well. And I'm just going to start slowly trimming for the landing. Turning onto base leg now. I'm looking for keeping me between 80 and 100 knots when I'm on, and try and look for those glide scope lights. The glide scope lights I'm looking for is obviously 2 red and 2 green. That therefore means that I'm at the required height. If I get all red, then I'm 2 below the glide slope, which therefore means that I need to increase in height to follow the correct line of glide slope down. And if I see all whites, then I need to obviously decrease my altitude to get the two red and the 2 white. Got a little bit of wind just coming from our right hand side now, so I'll have to put a little bit of speed on. But we're just slowly turning around onto finals now. Check all around. I'm going to open the cowl flaps, cylinder pressures, everything's all okay. Fuel's okay, fuel pumps are on, and we're all in the green. What I'm looking for now is I've got 1 red, which therefore means I'm still just a little bit higher. Now you can see the 2 green. I'm just literally tethering on the 2 reds, and there we go, the 2 reds and 2 whites. And now I'm basically looking at following that all the way down now. Just going to lower my speed right off. 2nd stage of flaps, and I'll get the 3rd stage of flaps in as well. And now I'm trying to keep that 2 whites and 2 reds. And that will follow me all the way down to the aiming markers and the touchdown markers. So there we go, I've got 3 reds now. So I'm just going to increase in altitude a little bit. And I'm keeping between the 180 knot marker. Bit of wind today, so a bit of turbulence, so I'm just having to play with her a little bit, put a bit of rudder input. There's the 2 greens and whites just as we come up to the threshold. All the way down now. Keeping the throttle down. A little bit of rudder input. Down we go. A nice strong flare.
Transporter from dispatch.
And we're
Take
down.
the VIP to the parking.
Flaps up.
Transporter from dispatch. Clear the runway and taxi to parking.
And we can take the fuel pump off as well.
Cessna 4, X-ray, X-ray. Turn next taxiway.
And I reckon the surface is 555 wet at the moment, I reckon.
Cessna 4, X-ray, X-ray. Contact ground on 121.905.
So I'm just putting the taxi light on now and acknowledging that.
121.905 for Cessna for X-ray, X-ray.
And what I'll do is I'll just contact ground. I've just vacated the runway of Echo now, and I'll have a look at going to a gate, I think.
Ground Cessna November for 14 X-ray, X-ray taxi to the gate.
Cessna November 414 X-ray, X-ray taxi to gate 1 tree via taxiway Echo Alpha for Alpha Juliet.
Taxiing to gate 1 tree via taxiway Echo Alpha for Alpha Juliet Cessna for X-ray, X-ray.
So that's me now off to gate 13. Nice bit of immersion here. Just turned around to the header stand 6. And a nice little Carmichael Cobra just on the left there. I do like the taxi markers, but I think I'll end up getting rid of them, to be honest, if I'm going to do some more on here, because they spoil the aesthetics of the runway of Jersey Airport a bit, to be honest. But nice C-130 Hercules over there. So what I'll do here is the main thing is with NeoFly, you have to turn the engines off and and put the parking brake on. So we'll do that, and then you'll hear the unloading of the passengers and so on and so forth, and then I'll show you about how we go about selling the clothes and so on and so forth, and then we can see our profit at the end. Fortunately, the guidance system doesn't work, but it probably doesn't have our aircraft on it, which I wouldn't be surprised. But here we are onto gate 13. Parking brake on, and then we'll cut the engines.
Transporter. Disembarkation in progress. Stand by.
And the nice immersion there as the passengers get off. Flight plan here, I can click the flight plan and then I'll delete it. It's what the good thing with NeoFly now is always consistent, so whenever Microsoft Flight Simulator is on, it will empty the passengers and you can literally fly off without even having to look at NeoFly again. But obviously I'm just doing a quick flight today to show you.
Transporter. All the passengers have disembarked. Good job. See you soon.
So that's all the pilots off. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to turn everything off.
Start your engine.
That's NeoFly saying that we're all good to go again. Because the good thing about the FlySim Cessna 414 is whatever state you leave the aircraft is a state you come back on. So I generally close it down completely, put the locks on, and the engine covers. And I get rid of the people. And there we are, gate 13, all tied down, ready for some more. I'll quickly talk through NeoFly. But as you can see here, we've obviously got the XP for that, the VIP. Payment from the mission, so we got 2,246 for the VIP payment. And then what we can do now is go into the marketplace like we did before. We've got the clothes on board, and it says here, it confirms with the little aircraft here, we can click on the clothes and sell them. So we've made another £14,500 there, or thereabouts. The good thing is, again, with NeoFly, what I really like, again, is the fact that you pay airport fees and that now, so it's cost me £614 because I'm a commercial business to land here, and the fuel usage I've used as well. So that's really, really good. Obviously, like I said, so Jersey, these are all the aircraft that I could buy in Jersey at the moment. You can rent some aircraft as well. So at the moment, I could put 200 grand down for a deposit and start flying the Cessna Caravan for £1,000 per flight hour. Or you can buy them outright. For example, there's a let's go for, you know, the Pitts Special As Asobo here, 177 grand, and I could buy that outright. And then what I could do is put a pilot on here. So what I've obviously done with the whole company is I've brought another aeroplane, which is obviously the Britain or Normand Islander, and I've brought a pilot or hired a pilot down here. Just like anything else, you can click on the pilot or the aircraft. That then transfers me over to her. She's currently at Echo Delta Echo Victor at the moment. I go into her aircraft, I can top up her fuel. I can also pay to repair the aircraft and insure it, which I strongly advise. And again, what I can do is I can have a look in Echo Delta Echo Victor what they're selling, and then hopefully try and find somewhere close by that if I right click on an aircraft, it'll automatically put us in. So therefore, you see, I can buy a whole load of cigarettes there and sell them for 37. But what you're generally looking at is the more expensive stuff like whiskey, computers. So computers would be a really good one to try and find, especially because the British Normander has such a high payload. If I could find computers close by, that would be really, really good. There's computers there, you see. They need 169 computers. I've got 124. So I'll load them up on there. Or as much as the payload will allow. So I've got 111, which is 100 grand. I'll buy them. Then what I do now is I make sure that I'm clicking on the place that I want it to go. So Echo Delta Quebec Charlie. That's where I want her to go. Transit. And the main one for this that I didn't figure out straight away is to get her to start flying. You have to double click in this, and then you'll actually see NeoFly will load. And the cargo's gone now. Then you can go down and confirm that. You can go down to here and find your pilot, and this is her here with the pilot, and then you can track her. So at the moment the status for the is loading the aircraft, and she's in Echo Delta Echo Victor, and she's going to Echo Delta Quebec Charlie. Well guys, I hope you've sort of enjoyed that. It's quick and simple really. It was mainly to see if my screen recorder and that's working, but I'm going to start putting some more in, integrating the live ATC and that with NeoFly as well. But if you enjoyed it, give us a like, and I'll start posting more. Thanks a lot.